We had someone fall about 25 feet off of a balcony straight onto concrete. We need an ambulance ASAP.
Do you know if he's bleeding from anywhere?
Yes, it's coming out of his nose.
Is he able to talk to anybody?
No.
A stuntman severely injured after falling more than 20 feet onto the concrete below.
The stuntman reportedly suffered a head injury so severe he had to be transported to a center in Atlanta. He later died in the hospital.
When he fell off a 25-foot balcony onto concrete at Raleigh Studios in Sonoy, Georgia. His mother is suing AMC Networks, the production company, and the actor who was with Bernecker when he fell. Now, jury selection is set to begin at 9 a.m. at the Gwinnett County Courthouse.
Monty Simmons, yes. Austin Emilio, no. Stalwart Films, yes. TWD Productions, 8, yes. AMC Networks, Inc., no. For allocation of fault, we find that John Bernecker is at 6%, Tom Luce 15%, Jeff January 10%, Monty Simmons 4%, Austin Emilio 0%, Stalwart Films 40%, TWD Productions 25%, and AMC Networks at 0%. The full value of the life of John Bernecker, $8.5 million. Total damages, $8.6 million.
In The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 7, a scene was intended to show Dwight killing Mark, another burnt-faced saviour. Mark, of course, first appeared in Season 7, and he has his face burnt by Negan's iron. This was because Mark was chilling with Amber, his ex-girlfriend, who was one of Negan's wives. Because Amber had agreed to be one of Negan's wives, she was forbidden from being with Mark, and of course the two were caught in the act, so Mark had to be punished, getting a sweet-ass side of his face burned, just like Dwight. In Season 8, Episode 7, Mark appears one last time. He's helping Laura to barricade a door in the sanctuary. Now, Mark was meant to have an additional scene in the episode. However, this second scene of Mark was deleted, not only from the episode, but from the script. Now, the deleted scene in question likely occurred after Mark discovered Dwight of being a mole. How it basically would have occurred is Dwight killed Mark and then threw his body over the balcony of the sanctuary. Him being killed before he was thrown from the balcony is an important detail that we'll get to later. As you can all gather, this scene was never properly filmed and it never aired in the episode, and that's for one pivotal reason. On July 12th, 2017, during a rehearsal of this very scene, stuntman John Bernecker fell over 20 feet from a balcony, missing the safety pads below and landing on the concrete. He suffered severe head injuries and then died 2 days later. Austin Emilio, who was obviously present on the balcony with Bernecker at the time, described it as the worst day of his life. During the wrongful death trial that followed, Bernecker's mother, Susan, argued that the death was preventable, and it was a direct result of production negligence. AMC's legal team, however, contended that Bernecker's death was due to his own human error, specifically that he grasped the railing during his fall, changing his trajectory. Now, like I said before, the scene was meant to be Dwight has already killed Mark and is throwing Mark's body over the railing. So Bernecker grabbing onto the railing, that is an important part of the trial, and it was a key contention, as it was obviously not part of the script or the rehearsals. The plaintiff's argument was that John had grasped onto the railings because actor Austin Emilio had pushed him with butt of a gun prop. Austin Emilio, of course, denied that he touched Bernecker and specifically said that he was told by the stunt coordinator never to touch him. And then the actor who plays Mark, Griffin Freeman, backed up Emilio's testimony by claiming he never touched Bernecker during the rehearsal, supporting the defense's claim that the stuntman's actions were unprompted. A civil jury in December 2019 initially awarded Bernecker's parents $8 million from Stalwart Films and other companies found at fault. Stalwart Films is basically AMC's production company, though AMC itself was actually let off the hook. It was found not negligent in his death. However, in March 2023, that initial $8 million that they won was overturned by an appeal court, ruling that this civil claim was barred by the Workers' Compensation Act. The family's attorney then planned to appeal the decision to the Georgia Supreme Court, but as far as I can tell, that hearing hasn't appeared yet. Let me know if it has and I've just missed it. Now, as far as the court is concerned, John Bernecker's death is a result of his own human error, but other production companies were at fault too. The reason why they didn't get the $8 million was because the court decided that he had control over his own work, therefore Stuntwork Film wasn't an employer. I'm all up for hanging AMC out to dry, okay? I don't like AMC. They've made some dreadful decisions when it comes to this franchise. But at the very least, they themselves are not directly to blame. Possibly you could blame their production company, but the Court of Appeal, of course, found them innocent in the end. Or at least the bar wasn't high enough to award the family with the winnings. Out of respect for John Bernecker, the scene depicting Mark's death was written out of the episode, and Mark never reappears again in the series, at least giving the impression that that scene still took place, but it just happened off screen. Or perhaps maybe Mark is still out there, but like I said, we don't see him again. From what I can tell, I think this scene was replaced with this scene that we actually see in the episode. It too takes place on the balcony and also concerns Dwight's betrayal of the Saviors. In the scene, Eugene, of course, uses the iPod attached to a little makeshift drone, and he uses it to try and attract the walkers away from the sanctuary, and Dwight ends up shooting his device. The whole subplot of Eugene knowing that Dwight is betraying the Saviors never really has a conclusion either. Like, Eugene doesn't rat Dwight out, so that's what makes me think this was a shoehorned in little scene to replace the scene where Dwight kills Mark and throws his body off the balcony. Despite my issues with that little subplot, I think it was the best thing they could have done. Trying to film that scene after the actor had already died would have just been disrespectful. But I feel like they could have reworked Mark's death, maybe. I don't know. It's a tragedy that John Bernecker died the way he did during the filming of that scene, and no matter who's at fault and who's negligent, it is an absolute stain on the Walking Dead franchise that a stunt actor died like this during filming. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this short video on another deleted Walking Dead scene that you never knew about. Thank you to all the channel members: Baddie, Ralph Farhar, Samuel Jordan, Just Jordan, August Fisher, Rye, Austin Mann, and Leon Kennedy is my daddy. And an extra shout out on top to my Walker Slayers, okay? These are absolute legends. Coda Cole, Red Lemon Cola, and whatever comes to mind. Thanks. Please, if you like my channel, consider becoming a member. But if you don't want to do that, just like and share the video. That's great. And make sure to comment. It helps me in the algorithm. Leave a comment.